Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The largest trial in Belgian history has begun with 10 men accused of involvement in Islamist suicide bombings in Brussels in 2016 that killed 32 people and injured over 300. Set to last 7 months, the trial has revived painful memories for those who lost loved ones, were injured or witnessed the twin bombings at the airport and a third bomb on the metro in March 2016. Around 1,000 people have been registered to be represented in the hearings. 9 of the accused are charged with multiple murders and attempted murders in a terrorist context and face potential life sentences. All 10 are accused of participating in the activities of a terrorist group. Oil prices have risen amid concerns that a new cap on the price of Russian crude could disrupt global supplies in the coming months. A separate decision by major oil-producing countries to keep cutting how much they produce to prop up prices has also fueled the rise. The price of Brent crude oil rose by almost 2% on Monday to $87.25 a barrel, but this is still well below the highs seen after Russia invaded Ukraine. Higher oil prices tend to push up petrol prices and the cost of living, which in the UK is rising at its fastest pace in 41 years. According to reports, several people have been killed in explosions at 2 Russian military airfields. A fuel tanker exploded, killing 3 and injuring 6 in an airfield near the city of Ryazan. Another 2 people are reported to have been hurt in an explosion at an airfield in the Saratov region. It is not known what caused the blasts. Meanwhile, several buildings were heavily damaged in the centre of Donetsk after the city was hit by shelling. There were no reports of any casualties. Sudan's pro-democracy coalition Forces of Freedom and Change has signed an initial agreement with the military to restore civilian rule after last year's coup. The deal allows for a 2-year civilian-led transition towards elections, but protests challenging the agreement have already begun in the capital Khartoum, and more are expected across the country as people call for those who led the coup to be held accountable. Sudan has suffered nearly 4 years of political instability after the former president Omar al-Bashir was overthrown following mass protests. Thousands of residents in Indonesia's East Java have been on high alert after a violent eruption at the island's tallest volcano, Mount Semeru, prompted authorities to impose an 8-kilometre no-go zone. The eruption, some 640 kilometres east of the capital Jakarta, follows a series of earthquakes in the west of Java, including one last month that killed more than 300 people. No casualties have been reported, and there has not been any immediate disruption to air travel. Almost 2,000 residents have been evacuated as authorities raised their warnings to the highest level. 3 Chinese astronauts have returned to Earth after completing a 6-month mission aboard China's space station. They left for space on the 5th of June to oversee the final construction stage of the Tiangong space station, which was completed in November. The crew touched down on board the Shenzhou 14 spacecraft on Sunday in China's autonomous region in Inner Mongolia. China's space agency declared the mission a success. Commander Chen Dong and teammates Liu Yang and Tsai Shujie said they were feeling well after landing. And Prince Harry has spoken about what he calls the leaking and planting of stories, calling it part of a dirty game in a new trailer for his upcoming Netflix series. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.